Hey everybody, what's going on? One of the things that we have in our group is me talking about launching 12 products in 12 months, um, starting over the next couple of months. And I've been spending the past few weeks getting the tooling and infrastructure in place to make that process as efficient as possible, considering it's going to be a lot of chaos in that time as we go on to attempt that mission on getting products out the door every 30 days. Um, so I've mentioned tooling and I've talked about some software tools that I was going to use and narrowing things down. And I wanted to show those today because I've been spending quite a bit of time on getting that up and running. And so the two choices that it came down to from a software perspective of what I was going to code in was a JavaScript framework called Meteor and a PHP framework called Laravel. Both of these are pretty solid performers, and really good for solo entrepreneurs, solo coders. They both have their pros and their cons, and I can talk about that in another video, but I wanted to just mainly talk about why I'm choosing this and why having tooling is important, and kind of narrow choices is important because you'll be all over the place. So I decided to go with the Meteor. The main reason was JavaScript is my primary language, and this is a framework where I can use JavaScript on the front end and the back end, and the database is MongoDB, which is based off of using JSON documents versus having to write SQL queries. And for an entrepreneur, having a database that is pretty simple to use and still very solid performer is very important. So after that choice was made, the next thing I wanted to work on was actually having templates built of the mass amount of pages that I would have to deal with, as I was working on this. So I didn't spend too much time on UI, spending most of my time on business logic because that's going to be the important part. So what I did was I purchased the theme online. Then I had to integrate that theme into Meteor, which it turned out to be a bear. Since Meteor is heavily or tightly coupled, it's very hard to pull things apart. But I was able to get it done. I had to make some other choices, and excuse me. I talked to a member of Charlotte here, and she was very helpful. We just talked. We didn't talk technical, but we just had conversation back and forth. Um, and I was able to get this up and running. So why I want to talk about this is because I want this simplifies what we're attempting to do. So as I scroll down and show this for you, I have my example pages ready. So whether I'm going to have an e-commerce site, a product site, air pages, landing pages, etc., I have all that here just to build the common pages that folks will come to. So for example, if I decide to do e-commerce, which is highly unlikely, I have my e-commerce ready, and I have some, scrolling ready, and contact us on Twitter, and buttons and cards that people can click on if that's the direction we decide to go in. A product page, which can actually go down to a product, and we can have the carts and everything almost ready, and drop downs and things like that ready. A landing page, which is the first thing that we saw, where we can introduce our product and talk about it. We have some pretty decent color schemes and pricing pages and so on. Also have a standard login page and standard register page if you're somebody that wants to do it with password reset and all that good stuff. Um, Once you're logged in, I'm just gonna log in email address right here. Oh, hopefully that works. The password I put in here. Alright, there we go, but at least you got to see both of the errors. I have a dashboard that's set up, and the dashboard has, a couple of tables that I may need to use and things like that. And we can just take away and add things that we need as we continue to build. But I wanted to get the basic framework up, so I just know I need to come to this page and add this, or if I need that page, I can add that. And let me log out real quick and get back to our examples. Um, let's just go on the profile page. This is probably what folks will see when they log in, and they'll have whatever product or service I'm offering, and then I can just go below and add more things to it. Um, so I'm hoping that this cuts down on a tremendous amount of time. It does narrow the UX UI aspects because this is heavily opinionated, so it works a certain way. I do have some flexibility, like I can change pictures and change color schemes, add different types of buttons. It has some flexibility, but as far as how it's going to work, it's pretty narrow, and I think that's not necessarily a bad thing, because the first thing for me is to get something out the door that people will use, that they need. After that, we can always come back and hire a professional UX UI designer and actually get it to fit exactly what we need. Now, in extreme cases, we may have to change everything, but for right now, I think this will work. And I have something that's ready to launch, and we just need to go in and do our business logic. And if you're working on products, I highly, highly, highly encourage you to have a starter system, a starter template that you can use, that you can just get on and start building. And so inside of here, all I have to do is come into my API folder with the Meteor and start adding to the databases, whatever models I'm going to use, whatever set of data I need, and work on the UI down right here and write whatever code that's going to be, and then bam, that function feature and functionality is done. So um, check that out. Take a look, check that out, and get out there and build your thing.